aje content ndio itakuwa tu inamwagika. I'm going through the public financing chapter na hiyo ya devolved government. Hizo mbili ndo nimejaribu kuzishikilia na sitaki niongee kabla nimalize kupika, so acha nipike and then I come and spew the knowledge. Yeah, so happy Katiba Day to all of us.
Happy Katiba Day to you too, Nora. Thank you for that. And by the way, KOT, I don't know if you forgot already, but you also taught another important article, Article 2 today by what was her name? #police. The one that says
Why are you being nice to KOT? He was taught, he was sent to school.
My friend,
He's a naive,
Wanyama, kindly,
naive
if
student.
it's not your time to speak on this space, kindly mute yourself, yeah, because we gave you time to even play music for us. You never did that. So Wanyama, kindly, yeah? just
Being loud is not a measure of understanding. You were taken to school, my guy.
Yes, of course.
Shouting is not a measure of intelligence, my guy. Accept.
Just a minute.
Read that constitution.
Just a minute.
Read that constitution very, very well.
Yesterday
as you were taught yesterday.
I was taught by that lady, and she asked me to be so familiar with Article 2 of the Constitution, and of course I've been going through that article. Yeah. I've been going through that article, and I really, really love it. Yeah. So at least yesterday I learned something, honestly. So Wanyama, kidogo tu baba, tulia kidogo tu.
So Article 2 says
So let me highlight some things so that people do not become lazy like KOT Marvin Mabonga on certain things of the constitution, because hapa it's about civil education, and hata yeye alikubali, alikuwa anafikiria he's big-headed narrow-headed matters constitution, but alipelekwa shule jana. I loved it. I won't lie. I was having fun. I even got sleepy after having that type of fun yesterday. So today is Katiba Day, and I like the mood and the energy about it, because as much as it's easy for us to get blinded by the wrong things that have been happening, and rightfully so, because this it's like what we've been consistently calling, with the little minor in psychology that I learned in school. There's something called passive aggressive in psychology. Nile, whatever is promised on paper and whatever ina happen right now is very different. That's what is frustrating most of us Kenyans, in the sense of, I think, if you look around us, most of the people that are actually in active politics, effective politics, are from the KANU regime. Most of them. And by the way, Moi wasn't wrong to say KANU will rule for 100 years, because most of these guys, mention any politician except these youngins, most of them are from the KANU regime. Now, if you recognize that fact, this dog, sorry guys, if you recognize that fact, then you have to accept that there is a problem of things like, I can't remember the right word, like getting used to something happening a certain way. Then the rule changes, and you have to actually, shift from how it was happening, because these kind of guys had gotten used to having a mammoth of a party, a mammoth of power, YK92, things like those, Mlolongo system. Then suddenly, if you're used to having absolute power in something like the presidency, president akisema imetendeka. But 2010 constitution doesn't say that. 2010 constitution says, you know what, there's separation of powers: executive, judiciary, parliament. You see, it comes from the point of, we have a very good constitution, not pitch perfect, but the problem is these bigots who have come from a system that is not like, was not well representative, was not well working. They are shifting the same actions to this new constitution, and little by little they are trying to move back the 2010 constitution to what it was before, with these small changes, small acts, small what, And that is why it is important for us to understand what 2010 Constitution is and the powers and rights, the negotiated rights, the guaranteed rights, and whatever comes as a package because of this Constitution that they fought for. We fought for through our parents because most of us were not there in the 80s and we were kids in 90s. Even 2010, I'm sure Marvin was, I don't know, Marvin was probably 14
The- the-
or 15.
This one now confirms that you have not been attentive on this space. Thank you so much, Anna, for responding to me.
I've been attentive. I just wanted you to confirm. So to highlight the stats is this. You see, there is a brief overview for us to understand as both listeners and speakers, and I would encourage anyone to come to the speaker panel and speak. See, the Kenyan Constitution is a crucial document that shapes all our governance, laws, and society. So it's the supreme document. Tuanzie hapo. Tusikuwe na zile za mtu fulani alisema. No, it's not about the person, it's about the document. But it's also important for us to understand it's a living document. What do I mean by a living document? It can be changed and improved. Not changed in the sense of huyu amebadilisha katiba. Your politicians hapa kaa kina Marvin. Badilisha katiba imaanishi it's wrong. It means it can also be something good. And that's the joy we should find in our constitution is the evolution we've had as a country, because tumetoka, it's been a journey, and I can even give you a plethora of names that really fought for this. It's been from the point of, at some point it was people forming the politician fighting for it, a chance for a coup to happen, which was I mean quashed. Kiingereza leo inapotea. Then after that, the politician gave up or was handled properly by the regime of the day. The students picked it up. University of Nairobi students picked it up. Some even had to run to exile. So it's been a journey. If after that, when the students were harassed, lecturers, handled properly, others ran to diaspora, who picked it up? It was the church. Yeah. So we have to recognize the journey as well that is taken for us to get to where we are today. So it's a celebration, and hiyo keki mwenye ametupromise hapa hivi asiva afikiria tuko tunasikiza. We shall be waiting for evidence on Kalatas that is there, because it's a celebration today. So we are living to the post-independence, era. And this was classified by three things: 1964 Republic Constitution, amendments of that power consolidation, and the Moi era. These three things is what has informed us to be where we are right now. Plus the constitutional reforms, all those things. CKRC, I think mesahau the role that CKRC played. That's the Constitution Review, blah blah blah. The Constitution of Kenya Review Commission. That is a body that actually gifted us this. Then the Bomas draft after that. We got the 2010 Constitution, which we enjoy today. And the key features are devolution, Bill of Rights, checks and balances, independent institutions, and most important part, which we should push for, is gender equality. That's the most important part. And there was a discussion yesterday on whether our to kama women rep nini watolewe. We should think about how to realign the women rep role, not removing it. Because to remove, we are taking steps back on the gender equality side. That's the type of discussion that probably we should look towards. Hii ingine tupige siasa mbaya, Kenya mbaya. Mzee Moi alituambia hivyo. At the end of the day, he might have been a dictator, he might have been the worst, but the guy was a master of politics. And the good thing is, whether Kenyans we accept it or not, I'm not pro Moi, but let's appreciate that the Mzee had the power to stay there, like some countries we know, and they have not gone well. Mzee decided to do what? To let it go. Give it up to the Mzee. At the end of the day, as it has always been said, he was a teacher at the core. And he taught us one thing, which you guys, we should never forget as Kenyans. Siasa mbaya, nchi mbaya. So let's change our politics. Even as we continue with this 2010 constitution, it's a good document, but let's change our politics to reflect the goodness of this 2010 constitution. Back to you, Binti, as I take some more water.
Thank you very much, Wanyama. Okay, so let's carry on with our conversation. Today's Katiba Day. I will hear from Luke first, then Katana. Tori, you wanted a mic check. Can you hear me?
Sure. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. I'll just start with Luke first, and then Katana. Luke, good morning. Talk to us, please.
Good morning to you, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Mary asked a very important question. Why are things the way they are in Kenya, and yet we have a new constitution? I will try to answer that question partly. And let me start by saying that I was born during the time of Moi, and then I have been here, of course, through Kibaki, Uhuru, and then Ruto. We all know that apart from Ruto, Moi was the worst president Kenya had. And then, so far, Kibaki has been the best president Kenya have ever had. I'm saying this because both Moi and Kibaki ruled under the same constitution, because Constitution 2010 came to full effect after Kibaki era. So Kibaki delivered with old constitution, and Moi made worst decisions with the same constitution. My point is this: constitution here is not the problem, because we have two gentlemen here who did different things under the same constitution. Just to give you a context of what I want to say, UK doesn't have constitution. Other countries like US have a constitution that they have just amended few times since their independence in 16th century. So my point here is to answer you, Mary, and any other people here. We have what we have today because of the behavior, and we cannot constitutionalize or legalize or legislate people's behavior. That is very difficult. You give a best constitution to a log guy, he will make log decisions. You give worst constitution to a best guy, will make the best decisions. So my point here is, and coming back to what Wanyama maybe was trying to suggest, that constitution can be amended. We can amend constitution, but as the behaviors remain the same of our leaders, we will not be making any progress. So what I have seen in the recent past is that the behavior of our leaders is not anything to go by. It is terrible. And how can we change it? I was not in Kenya around 2016, and I remember there was a fuel crisis in the world. And people in Germany did something very good. Everybody who had a car, the price was increased, I think, by 1 or 2 euros there. Anybody who had a car took their car and parked the car in the nearest tarmac. And within 2 hours, the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, dropped the fuel down. So I'm trying to say, to change the behavior that we have in our leaders today, we have to use what we have. We were told when we were in college, you use what you have. If you are not a farmer, will definitely use his djembes and pangas. If you are not a student in universities, they use stones because that's what they can afford. Equally, if you are not a police, they will use their guns. So we Kenyans, what do we have? That's what we need to use, and that's what we need to use. And by the way, 2010 constitution is progressive. It has given us what we need as the basic or as something we can build on. We have devolutions, we have bills of rights, we have so many things. So we can use what is there to achieve, and our main achievement should be to change the behaviors. So I heard yesterday there was this conversation about changing constitution and so forth and so forth. That one I wouldn't encourage that, because we cannot change constitution to align the behaviors of our leaders. So I would say we focus on one thing. And one way I think myself can help this is to focus on one thing. Like, let's say we dissolve the parliament and everybody goes to that. We dissolve the parliament and we try to elect people who can represent our views. Or we focus on. So that's what we should focus as we celebrate this constitution. I also want to remind people, I have heard people saying that we scrap the women lab. Somebody has said that. Others have said that we should reduce number of counties from 47, I think, to 8. There is nothing wrong with 47 counties. I have lived in country where they have devolved units into over 500 units. And most of you know, those who have traveled in Europe, they have those devolved units, if it is municipal or counties, and they work very well. But the point is, the people that they elect are accountable. So we should not try to change, because devolution has come with so many good things. Women rep have come with so many good things. What we should do is to make sure that these people who are in power are accountable. So guys, as I wind up, let's use what we have. We achieved the finance bill was dropped because we have our numbers. My example there was farmers use what they have. So what do we have? If we have to go to the street, let's go to the street. And with one agenda, dissolve parliament, because we can do it. I was suggesting the other time, and we have to do this in a way that is going to be effective. Experience has shown us, if you go to street, you are tear gassed. I was there, and then you learn. You give the police an upper hand. Let's have some ways which we can achieve this. If you go to street, let's go to street and sit down, for example. If they pour water on you, there is nothing much they can do. And then there will be no more rooms for like their goons and so forth. Just go sit, or you go in one place, you occupy, you sit there. Because once we start moving, that's what makes things bad. I have seen these movements in Europe. You've seen in France, farmers, when they are annoyed, they come with their trucks and they pack them there, trucks full of those farm uh, products, and they had. I have seen in Canada, when truck drivers were offended, you just take your truck, park it in CBD, and leave. They cannot tow down all those trucks. So we need to have those ways that will help to change the behaviors of our leaders, and we have to remain focused. Finally, today, if we are going to the street, then we should be able to have some kind of a way. If we are going, we go, and then we say let's go from 10 and so forth, because we need to really stand up and use what we have. The point here is we have to use what we have to change these people and to push them to the corner. And then let's remain focused. Let's not have this hashtag, today we are changing Katiba, tomorrow we are pushing for IBC. The other days we are dissolving the parliament. The other day we are saying Ruto must go. And Kenya, through colonialism, have been ruled through divide and rule. All of you know what happened on Sunday. Nat and Kupet have been divided, and that's how the teacher strike will remain irrelevant. So we have to know our way, get away, and then we try to force these people to behave, because most of the times they don't. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luke. You're right. You know, we have to use the strength that we have right now in order to get an upper hand, and after that, you know, we can just carry on forward. But the most important thing is that we have to hold people accountable, make sure that the constitution is being followed by everybody, by every citizen. Okay, so I think I said we'll go to Katana, and then Toria. After Toria, we'll go to Patty Rick. Katana, hi. Katana, can you hear me? Okay, Katana, I guess you're not here. Toria, if you go ahead, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Mkofiti. Okay.
Tiko sawa. Where's the energy? Have we injected energy in your voice?
I'm good. Okay, I hope kila msee ako fiti. Mine is just I'm not good. I don't know the constitution very well, although I know some clauses in the constitution which favor me mostly as a citizen or a patriot of Kenya. What I urge is today marks the Happy Katiba Day. Yeah, is it Happy Katiba Day? I'm a Happy Constitution, whatever day. Yeah. Uh, Today we are going in the streets to celebrate or to to act according to the rights or the clauses given by our constitution to us that we the people shall. Yeah. What I would urge is that let's not think of amending the constitution at this time because we have a lot of political issues. First, we deal with the political issues because when you think of amending it this time, the political class will unfavor us and they will take the favorism on their side. They will take the clauses that favor them, which they don't favor them, they get rid of them. And we, the people, are the ones who are going to suffer. Our constitution is not bad at all. It's actually good. It's the leaders who doesn't follow the constitution. Those are the bad people. It is good if we from today making it the 14th year of the constitution of Kenya since it started acting, we emphasize on exercising the clauses in the constitution because nobody is above the law according to the constitution, but because they don't follow it, they use the clauses in the constitution to oppress us, the common mwananchi. We need to show them that nobody is above the law and everybody should implement every law or every clause or article in the constitution as long as you are a citizen, you are a Kenyan citizen, whether by birth or by registration or by whatever. Nobody is above the law. So mi kitu naweza emphasize ni hiyo. Let's insist on implementing amending the constitution before we think of even amending our constitution. It is the best ever, though some clauses ain't favorable to us in some way. But we shall recheck that later after we are done or we get rid of this regime. I was so eager that if someone could reach out William Samoei Ruto because he has a talent in launching nowadays, it would be nice if he comes forward and relaunch the Constitution of Kenya and emphasize everyone to follow it like the like the president in quotes of Kenya. Shukran, mi sina mengi. Nice day ahead and keep moving, guys. We are in this together.
Thank you very much, Toria, and happy Happy Katiba Day. Jesus, Kiswahili, we? Ni ngumu. Anyways, guys, let's just remember to keep the community growing. Let's follow each other, the host, the co-host, the speakers, the listeners. Follow everybody, and just as we bring you these valuable conversations. And please feel free to request for the mic. It is open mic. We will give everybody the chance to speak. And I can see Mzalendo, you have your hand up. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Hope you are all well. Thank you so much. Mkiwa na Wanyama na Kioti hapo mkitu host this morning. So I would like to say happy Katiba Day to all of us. It's a day that William Ruto never wanted to exist. It is a day that William Ruto never wanted us to celebrate because William Ruto is the one who led a serious and vigorous campaign against this constitution. And actually, it is a sad day for the people of Kenya because we have a puppet who opposed a constitution as the president today. So this guy cannot purport to implement a constitution that he opposed. And maybe I just want to highlight some of the clauses that William Ruto opposed in the constitution. So if you are expecting William Ruto to embrace devolution, forget about it. Because in an interview with the Standard on May 2010, William Ruto told the Standard that he was opposed to the constitutional draft because of devolution. William Ruto never wanted devolution to come to the people of Kenya. He called it in his own words, William Ruto said that devolution is flawed and is not will not play meaningful role to the people of Kenya. So if you are waiting for Parliament to amend some clauses in the Constitution to favor you and me, in that same interview with the Standard, William Ruto says that he was opposed to the draft constitution because it would make Parliament not able to amend some of the clauses without public participation. Meaning what? Ruto wanted a parliament that is pocketed, a parliament that will wake up and amend laws, formulate laws without consulting the people. William Ruto told the Standard that the drafted constitution will not allow parliament to amend some clauses without public participation. If you are waiting for power to come to you, know that William Ruto told the Standard on that day that he was opposed to the minimum requirement to set up a constituency. William Ruto was opposed to the 1 man, 1 shilling agenda because he asked the guy who was interviewing him that why would this constitution say that there should be a required number of people to form a constituency? And lastly, if you are expecting to own land in Kenya, know that land was one of the reasons why William Ruto opposed the 2010 draft. In that same interview, William Ruto asked why Parliament will be allowed to pass legislations on what amount of land can an individual own. And in quote, it was a private land. He questioned why the committee of experts had set up that Parliament would decide that an individual cannot own a certain acreage piece of land. So meaning what? William Ruto wanted to own the whole Kenya. And he did not want Parliament to interfere with that. He asked that why are the perpetrators of the draft enabling Parliament to set up the maximum acreage of land an individual can own? William Ruto wants to own Kenya, and he doesn't want Parliament to interfere with him. So those are some of the key reasons why him and Pogisio paid the church to help him oppose the constitution. Now, because Article 1 of the Constitution gives us power, it says, as Tori has said, that the people shall. And KOT asked something yesterday night. I was somewhere busy. I did not join the space. Is it time to amend the Constitution or change the Constitution? KOT, as the people, it is our time to collect signatures and change this constitution. Because there are several laws that Parliament has enacted that are not favorable to the people, because the constitution as it was, if you read the draft constitution and the constitution as it is now, the regimes that have been in power have ensured that they amended several clauses of the constitution as per what the leaders and the oppressors wanted to favor them. If you read the draft constitution, it's very good. It's a very good article compared to what we have now. Because every president comes to power, he wants a Katiba that will favor him. So because a parliament has been always been used to rubber stamp what the executive wants. So the executive pays parliament. You had some time they said they were paid as less as 10,000. So they are paid. They amend clauses that will favor the incumbent president. So it is high time. I urge all of us to read the draft Constitution 2010 and then compare it with what we have now. You will see that the draft document is better and is greater than what we have now, because every incumbent president will come in and do to the law of the land what will favor him. Lastly, mimi niko hapa town. Sasa kama mnakuja street tupatane. Ni venye sijui masaa, labda mniambie masaa ni ya saa ngapi, tukane pamoja. Kama mkuji, mimi nitaenda Mfangano House nipige kelele huko. Thank you so much. Na muwe na siku njema.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lendo. So yes, we can look into that. I would just like to point out that people said earlier, if we start making amendments, it's going to open a door for the government to also make their own amendments. So we have to be careful about that. Maybe we just need to implement it first, see if it works. Then after that, sure, we can have other amendments. Muna, I can see your hand is up, but I think I'll just go to Coyote for now. They've been waiting for so long, and then I'll come to you. Coyote, can you hear me? Good morning. Coyote, I'm on Coyote. Coyote. Okay. Muna, if you go ahead then, please. Am I inaudible? Okay, there you go. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for the space. Wanyama, KOT, Binti, and the rest. Happy Katiba Day. My opinion is that I believe it was a big mistake to have the person of William Ruto as the president of Kenya, because he's one person who opposed the constitution. So if Kenya would have thought it well, we couldn't have given him that opportunity to be the president. But then, on another note, yesterday I was in another space in the morning where we were talking about the tribalism issue in our country. And my opinion in relation to the constitution is that the interest in the constitution was to enable power, resource, and services be close to the people as much as possible. But then, from what was happening during the era of Moi, during that time, the power was centralized in that everything happened in Nairobi. But then with the new Katiba, we had the idea of devolution, where we could have many services and resources as close as possible to our homes. But now with Ruto, he's trying to reverse that idea, because I still wonder why governors still, up to today, still cry for Ruto to release money, still cry for the treasury to release money. Many services were devolved, but they are not being funded for simple reasons that Ruto is so much interested. He feels good when people beg him for services, people beg him for funds, people beg him.
Munadasi, I don't know if you're still here, but I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear them? Munadasi, I think something is wrong with your mic. If you just drop and then come back, and then I'll give you the speaker again, if that's okay. But for now, let's go to Eric. Eric, I can see your hand is up. Hi. Hi, Eric. Hi. Go ahead. Hello. Okay, even you, we can't hear you. Just drop down and I'll give you the mic again. I'll send it to you. Don't request it, I'll send it to you. Who else is here? Regan's TV. Hello. Can you hear me? Hey, Wanyama, kwani your space has been bewitched by something. Regan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but just give me like some 2 minutes. I will just be back.
Okay, no problem. Hi, Nancy. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, happy Katiba Day.
Yeah, happy Katiba Day. Yeah, I just wanted to encourage everyone. Let's keep on going. Some of us might not be in Kenya, but we support in every way we can. So we should not give up on our country, because Ruto is ruthless, and we have to be ruthless to him as well. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for your sentiments, Nancy. Hi, Tori. I can see your hand is up.
Okay, I've just remembered something, although it's in the Katiba, in the Constitution, but it's not about the Constitution. Okay, it's kind of about the parties. I was in a space where someone was suggesting that we form a political party, and he was saying we drop the names that they have already registered the party, and this and that. So personally, I think like one thing is wasting us as Kenyans is political parties, because these political parties are causing lots of chaos, because many people want to listen to Kenyans, but their leaders are like kind of stopping them because of the parties involved. And also you find it, these parties, you choose the president is the one who is choosing the running mate. You choose the person you are going to be doing the corruption shit together. I think kind of political party, it's something we should get rid of in Kenya, and do with independent leaders if possible. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I know it's not today's topic, but it just popped in my mind. I remembered, so I had to speak my mind out.
Thank you. Sorry, hey, I was away from the mic for a second, but thank you very much, Toria. Guys, please feel free to request the mic. We are here to hear everybody's voices, everybody's sentiments. Tell us your opinion on the Constitution. Do you think it's working for us? Do you think it's not working for us? If it's not, what do you think should happen? Is it just that we're too stubborn, that we have a very corrupt regime, or is it the Constitution itself that needs to be fixed? We just want to hear your opinions. So, Eric, I don't know if you dropped and then came back, so I'll just check with you now. Can you hear me now? Eric, a Titwa. Okay. Regan, is your mic on?
Yeah, I'm back. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, happy Katiba Day.
Happy Katiba Day to you too.
Yeah, so I just have a few submission. Yeah, you see about this Katiba, the same constitution Ruto was against. You see, in Kenya now, we should not expect Ruto to do something that is under the constitution, because Ruto himself he doesn't support this constitution. So with Ruto is still in power, we should not expect something that will be favorable to the common mwananchi. Until Ruto will be out of power is when things will be right. But as per now, nothing. Whatever should happen, just Ruto should go. If Ruto goes, that's the time the constitution that was promulgated in 2010, it will be followed. But with Ruto now, nothing. You see, even now, everything, even the ministries, the other day, Ruto went in the town hall meeting with the student leaders. Where was the CS for education? Those are the kind of work CS for education should do. Ruto want to do everything by his own so that he can be seen in the camera. Ruto, no. Ruto is so much incompetent. When you are talking about Katiba, with the current president, which is Ruto, I don't even call him president. We should not expect much. The only thing that should be done in Kenya, Ruto should go. And in 2022, we really fumbled. We really fumbled in 2022 by allowing this guy, this crook, to be in power. That's the day that we lost our country. That's the day we lost our country. But guys, we still have time. We still have time to redeem ourselves, to remove this guy from power. If this guy continues until 2027, we will not have another Kenya, because behind the scene, Ruto is like he's selling Kenya. He's selling Kenya behind the scene. See, there are some of the dirty deals Ruto is doing in Kenya, but people doesn't know. Ruto is selling Kenya for his own personal gain. So when you're talking about Katiba with Ruto, it will not happen. Ruto is just a crook. Ruto is a criminal. Ruto is a thug. With this guy, see now yesterday he announced that NYS should be trained with firearms. For what purpose? Meaning the guy is preparing for 2027 to have more criminals, to shoot Kenyans, to kill Kenyans. Even the thing he was talking about is not under the constitution. And the police service, they are just quiet about it. See, there are some of the things Ruto is doing now. With the time, it will come to haunt us. People are just seeing them like this. With the time, it will come to haunt us. This guy should just go. And if anybody here is still saying that we should give Ruto time, Ruto doesn't have the interest of Kenya at his heart. Ruto went there for his personal gain, to be rich. Ruto doesn't have Kenya at his heart. This guy will just take Kenya to the trenches. One day we'll just wake up when we have already been sold. You'll just wake up when you're being told that this land is not yours. You have to pay the money to stay here. Guys, please. Anybody still thinking that Ruto will do the job, you are just doomed. Ruto will not do anything. You see, Ruto has already captured all arms of the government. Now Martha Koome can't say anything. She's just there. The protests were happening, abductions were happening. She didn't say anything. She's just there. Because of what? Judiciary was captured a long time ago. See, now he went ahead to capture the opposition, meaning Ruto want to rule Kenya like forever. Ruto is just making step by step. It will reach a time Ruto will be here like Museveni. The things he's doing slowly. Because Ruto is somebody, if you give him just a simple, like let's say like 1 hour, he will make step 10 times ahead of you. That's the Ruto we have. Ruto, we should not give him time. Tuendelee kufinya, tuweke huyu jamaa kwa kona, lakini tukimpatia time, the more we give him time, the guy is making his strategy, and the guy is making dangerous strategies. See now, the spokesman now is saying that abductions is not being done by the police. Kwani tuko Kenya ingine? I've just seen that one in the news now. Kwani tuko Kenya ingine? All these abductions who are conducting the abduction. The other day, DCI, they were saying that they are not the people responsible for the abductions. Meaning there are some people coming to Kenya to do abductions. With the constitution where Ruto is still in power, no. The moment Ruto was elected to be the president, that's the day constitution of Kenya was suspended. And Ruto is always saying that these Gen Zs want to burn the country, that these Gen Zs that are the anarchists. Let me tell you something. There are no anarchists in this country more than Ruto. Ruto is a real anarchist. Thank you for the submission.
Thanks a lot. I thought Binti is still here. Thanks, Regan. And to hear what let me put let's have a breather on the things that are going wrong. Let's just think about what are the things also that we are celebrating, because it's also a celebration, and we should not make the constitution of Kenya as if it's William Ruto. I know he is the problem, and we've been saying Ruto must go, but we are elevating him too much, too much, my people, to be like, he's the guy. No, let's focus on the house, which is the presidency, not the house typically like state house, but the presidency is a symbol of the country Kenya, etc., etc. Take it like the way the Americans put it, like the president is simply an ambassador for the country. That's what the Kenyan president is, and I stand corrected if the lawyers disagree. But typically, that's what he's supposed to be. Unfortunately, at the moment, he's not. He's an ambassador of his boys, you know. He's an ambassador of the conmen, the wash people, an ambassador of, recycling people who are done with usefulness. People who, I don't know why. Is it that there's a shortage of people in Kenya to put in these positions that are key in executive? So let's also talk about the good side of things and stop elevating him to be to the point of, you know, power is transient. In a few years, he'll be gone, my people. He'll be gone. Even if the agitation continues right now, who knows? Who knew people would get into parliament? Who knew, all the things? So my own individual opinion as Wanyama is, even if we celebrate, we are aware of the bad things, let us also push with the same strength the good things. Because people need empathy right now, my people. They need hope. Kuna watu tu, by the way, all they are seeing around is bad things about the country. They are giving up completely. Even with its problems, we want to celebrate that Kenya is still paradise. It's still home. It's still where most of, everyone, even the people in diaspora, still want home. And they still want it to work to the best part of it. So let us celebrate home. And home is that constitution. So as we continue, tafadhali tuambie pia, tusikuwe serious sana. Naona hapa watu wameanza kukua kama wameanza kuandika speech hapa kwa notes, mnaanza kusoma hapa hivi. Kuja useme katiba umeijua aje? Do you know the roles of your MCA? Kwanza hapo ndio mimi niko sana. Guys, you've assumed the roles of those MCAs a lot. Hakuna mtu anaongelea, mnaongelea tu MPs blah blah blah. Who is closer to you? Day to day service delivery. Who is the person that's supposed to be there? So you're elevating the member of parliament and forgetting that guy next to you, a mini MP, the MCA. So please, Regan, tukianza na wewe, now that you've been a speaker just a few minutes ago, what's up? Why are you aware about the MCA's role? Who is your MCA? What do they do? Have you been in contact even with one of them? Regan.
Wanyama, thanks for the mic. Yeah, my MCA, I've been to contact with him like I think a month ago. The guy is a guy who always come to our area. The guy is doing a great work. According to our MCA, the guy is good. The guy is a man of the people. And when we talk about the constitution, the better part of it, this constitution has enabled us at least to have service delivery, even back to the villages and whatever. I getting. So when this constitution was promulgated, I think before this constitution, the service delivery was slow. Like those in Mashinani, they are not getting that much service delivery. But as per now, what I can celebrate about this constitution, you can see that in the counties, we have the budget for the counties. So that's what I can celebrate now. Like you can see that the funds can be allocated for certain county. But now where the problem comes, the leaders now we have. You see, an MCA like my MCA, the guys doing a good work, but somebody is on top over there. Like me, I'm coming from Sia County. You know, somebody like James Orengo, the guy. I don't know if there's somebody who is coming here, who is in this space, is also coming Sia County. The guy just following Raila, and you know somebody following Raila, the guy is always anti-development. So you see, whether a MCA is trying as much he can, but my brother Wanyama, he cannot do the work that he needs. I getting, because the guy there at the top is incompetent. So when we are talking about sometime about the service delivery,
Regan,
yeah.
tuache kudanganyana na tuongee in
Ah,
both languages, Swahili and English. Let's correct that. You see,
okay,
unaona MCS na governors roles ni
okay,
very different. Ni very different. And this is why we need to delve deeper into these roles. Mbona vile parliament iko na committees, accounts
okay,
committee, health review committee, I mean the health committee nini, pia the county assembly iko na
okay.
similar kind of things. Trust me, the governor cannot even release a bob from those
Uh-huh.
accounts if the county accounts committee does not agree. So if the governor refuses kufanya kitu, if the county assembly agrees that there is a problem with the governor, they will handle him because the committees have the power, si
Okay.
governor. So let's correct your notion ya ati sijui governor akikataa nini because MCAs wetu na
Mm.
tuache kusema MCAs wao, let's own up, ni MCAs wetu, ni sisi tuliwaeka
Yeah,
pale,
yeah.
ni wetu, ni MCAs wetu ndo wamemuenable. Look at what is happening in Nairobi because
Mm.
I'm a voter in Nairobi.
Mm.
All the wrongs that Sakaja is doing is because the MCAs are enabling it. Umeelewa?
Because they are quiet.
It's it not even quiet.
Mm.
They are allowing mtu kama Baba kupush for agendas za Sakaja because as Sakaja was almost being impeached. What did he do? He ran to
Yeah, he
Baba.
went directly to Baba, yeah.
Why do you think that is? For convincing
But
of those
but you
MCAs.
know you know Wanyama, before you proceed, you know we have this one. You saw what happened to Meru. Those MCS they wanted to remove Kawira. What happened? Kawira went to court. So you see, when you are talking about even this issue, I don't know the what is wrong in Kenya. You see those Meru MCS, they wanted to impeach Kawira. What happened next? Kawira went to court. What can you say about that?
All I can say is these three arms they have learned from William Ruto because he
Okay.
does not respect the judiciary. So the judiciary is returning the what? The
Okay.
favor. So
You
that
see,
is what to me is currently happening. But irrespective of that, kuna
mm,
vitu bado tunaweza shinda. Na
sure,
vitu
yeah, yeah,
kama ni vitu kama barabara kujengwa hapo hivyo Meru. It doesn't need that governor to be in office.
sure.
That's my point. Kazi ya
But
county iendelee. Kazi ya
but
county iendelee. We
but
separate whoever
Wanyama,
is in office. Yeah.
how do you see this issue of Ruto going to even to launch the projects that an MCA can launch and the MPs can launch? How do you see about this?
Now we are talking. Ndio maana nakwambia
Mm.
fuata huyo MCA. There are people in Nyandarua Ruea walileta MCA wakamwambia endeshe gari yake kwa hiyo barabara yenye amekataa kufuatilia imalizwe.
Yeah, yeah, I saw
Fuata
the
huyo
video.
MCA. Yeah. Wacha akuje a launch hiyo before even huyu jamaa akuje a launch.
Mm-hmm.
Umenielewa?
Yeah,
Tukifuata hao MCAs wafanye kazi yao, there will be no space for this to be happening where the
yeah, yeah.
president is gallivanting in the country. Hold these people to the role that the constitution is saying. Tukishawa hold wafanye kazi vile constitution inasema, now we can start talking about, are we underrepresented? Are we overrepresented? Is this working well? Is this not working? As of now, MP anafanya kazi ya MCA. Ruto anafanya kazi ya MCA. Governors wanafanya kazi ya MCA. Na unajua MCA analipwa kufanya hiyo kazi.
Yeah.
We are expecting the national government ilete vitu za national government while it's a county government role. Health ni nini? See, it was devolved.
It was
Health
devolved,
was
but
devolved.
now, but since Ruto took power, this the devolvement of health now is not even working. It is like Ruto want to do everything on his own.
But that, even if he's doing some of the things, it might be unconstitutional. He's right to say, see makosa yake on one or two things, because you guys are not asking our counties to do whatever they're supposed to be doing. That's my point. And it's my opinion, like
And
personally as Wanyama.
and
If we hold
Wanyama,
these people to do the right thing, watafanya.
and Wanyama, do you know that Ruto himself is setting a trap on these people? Do you remember last time Ruto went to Kisii and he was talking about this new funding model that the university's fees that was released to the parent, that it is not the actual one. So what do you think about this issue? How will parents view the school principals? How will parents look at education CS? You see, this guy is setting a trap on these people.
That is politics, my friend. I'll need to go to
Huh?
the next speaker. Hiyo mambo ya politician tulisema siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. And if
Yes,
we get good politicians into office, we'll have a very good, naitwa nini, tutakuwa na maisha mazuri. But for now, tafadhalini guys, to bring you reality. Thank you, Regan. Thank you so much for engaging on that one. To bring you to perspective on why I'm insisting on MCAs. Ukiangalia kura za MCA hazikuangi in thousands, my people. It's only in Nairobi where MCAs pass with thousands. Inakuanga 3,000, 5,000, hapo 6,000. Go and look at those charts on the results. What does that tell you? It's a small niche of community yenye inajua huyu mtu. It's supposed to be someone where ana relate with the issues of that small community, and that's the person that you need to hold accountable. Salimia hao bana, hao MCAs wenye wako hapo karibu na nyinyi, hao ndio watu nitakana mfuate, wafanye kazi yao. When they do their job, Salasi hatakuwa kwa ground anajenga mashule, hatakuwa huko. Itabidi pia atafute importance, because in the Kenyan politicians DNA they have to feel essential. So wakikosa kitu ya kufanya, watatafuta kitu ya kufanya. So wacha MCA afanye chenye wana take advantage of. Push those MCAs, manze. The real Joe, I see your hand up.
Thank you very much, Wanyama. First of all, there's a concept that you are trying to derive that I've not heard maybe people talk about it. There's just a few statements you made just a few minutes ago about let's not focus on Ruto, let's focus on the presidency. I think you said something like that, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I said that.
Yeah. These are concepts that is supposed to be like a number one solution for us as a country. We need to build institutions rather than the people, and focus on institutions rather than the people in the institutions. Because right now, as it is, we have people rather than institution. We have Ruto rather than the presidency. We have Ruto Gachagua rather than the presidency. When we build institutions, it is easier to deal with those institutions rather than dealing with the people. And it makes it easier for the people holding given responsibility in those institutions to be easily dispensable. So we need to also focus on building institutions. So having said that, let me come to my concept, my points about Katiba Day. I think yesterday I mentioned something in the space ya usiku that our Katiba is only 2 years old. Like, according to me, it's not 14 years old. It's just 2 years old. So our Katiba since 2010, I can only count 2011 and 2012. In 2013, the presidency that took over in 2013, we know the history of that. I compare our Katiba to a baby. I've done this several times. I compare our Katiba to a baby that has just been born. And the baby, first of all, before this baby was born, we know the history of the presidency. These people never wanted this baby. In fact, they tried to make us abort this baby. How will they then take care of this baby? Therefore, we've had 12 years of unconstitutionalism in our country, promoted by two people, Uhuru Ruto. I never know how to differentiate the two regimes, Uhuru regime and Ruto regime. I just see them as one regime. We've never had constitutionalism in our country. From Uhuru regime, he never made constitutional decisions as a president. During his time, he started bringing acts from 2013 that just were contrary to our constitution. We saw some of them yesterday, and Okiya Mtata talked about the one for the IG. We saw that. We've seen that. We come to Ruto regime right now. Unconstitutional decisions left, right, and center. So these people did not want this constitution. They will never support it. They will never, ever support it. And you see, we are talking about, yesterday I also had sentiments of amendment of our constitution. I've also had sentiments of a representation. If you get, Kenyans are worried. That's why they are making these sentiments. But let me tell you something. Do you know that we are not, actually, for me, from where I sit, we are not overrepresented, by the way. We are not overrepresented because this constitution brought in the spirit of devolution, and the devolution itself, objectives of this devolution, if you go and read Article 174, objectives of this devolution, one of them was supposed to allow communities to manage their own affairs. Okay? Manage their own affairs and ensure they manage their own development and progress as a community. This is one very fundamental principle of devolution. What did the framers of the Constitution want to achieve by allowing communities to manage their own affairs? And Wanyama has just talked about an MCA and talked about the votes that bring an MCA to office. Very, very little votes. In fact, MCAs, if they play their role, if you look at Article 185, which is talks about the legislative authority in the county assembly, MCAs are supposed to be very, very critical in the development agenda of a county. But let me tell you the problem, what we're going through right now. The new Constitution 2010 came to us, but in the next election, we were still talking about things like 6 Ps. What does 6 Ps mean? ODM from MCA, Bakaju. Okay? With this kind of mentality, in an election, that means you get to a county assembly where you saying I was
No, go
interrupted.
ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
You
Just go ahead.
okay. So you go to a county assembly. For example, I'll tell you in Homa Bay. I'm from Homa Bay County, though I'm not a voter in Homa Bay County. But I tell you, I'll give you a good example. You go to a county assembly, for example, like Homa Bay. 99% or 95, I don't know, I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure it is over the 95 and above are ODM MCS. Okay? What does this then mean? This is just a party county. Party politics, left, right, and center. Party politics. I went to Homa Bay last week because of the celebration that those people are having, because of appointment of Mbadi as finance minister. I just went there to just walk around and see what is going on in this county. I'm telling you, there is no legislation that is happening in our counties. And this county assemblies have been underlooked in a way for me. They don't play their role. They don't play their role. County assemblies are supposed to approve plans and policies. That is as per Article 185 of the Part 4. They're supposed to approve plans and policies for management and exploitation of county resources. Do they do that? They only play into the biddings of the current regime in that county, of the governor, based on party politics. That is what they do, is happening in our country. Don't try to vindicate Meru MCS. Meru MCS, if you look at what is happening, kindly look critically at what is happening in Meru County. It is more than the governor. I'm telling you, it is just politics happening in that country. And therefore, we are supposed to be celebrating this constitution, but imagine we are planning to just go out and protest today. I've seen police deployment. We are not going to celebrate. Imagine, it is that bad. It is that bad. We have a constitution that has given us authority, has given our national legislation authority in terms of the county assembly of the National Assembly, given very, very serious authority under Article 96, very serious authority to be able to counter check the executive properly. But what are they? They are the choir for State House. They are the State House choir. These days I don't see State House choir like we used to see in Moi era, but I see them in the National Assembly. They have become the president's choir. President ni choir master. Every time we have a session in the National Assembly, it is just skits and drama and shooting content in the National Assembly. Nothing is happening inside there. We don't have a parliament. Okay, and all this is due to politics. Like Wanyama said, bad politics. All this is due to politics. So we find that we have a document that is really, really critical. And this document actually has also helped us in fighting for it, by the way. So see how important this document is to us. It has helped us in fighting for it. Okay? That's why we have things like Article 37 to be able to assemble. But look at what these people are trying to do. The MP Ruku trying to bring in a demonstrations act. Have you tried to read that act? It is, in fact, Ruku should be, I don't know what goes into the head of that man. I mean, first of all, if you want to talk about demonstrations in our country, you look at the history of demonstrations and protests. There were times when those demonstrations and assemblies were illegal, but people demonstrated either way. And those demonstrations led to very, very fundamental changes in our country, including even repeal of Section 2A of our Constitution, despite the fact that they were illegal. There was a time in this country when gathering more than 5 people, Moi had banned that. But the church played a very fundamental role. And you know about the assassination of Reverend Nani. He was very vocal in his church and ensuring that he taught the people who gathered in his church about the current occurrence of the nation at that particular time. But what does our church do these days? They are in bed with the regime. They have failed to raise pertinent issues to this regime. They give this regime platforms in their purported sanctuaries to spread misinformation and lie to Kenyans. Okay, the church was previously playing a very critical role, because in a church you find gatherings. Anywhere there's gathering, people are supposed to educate each other. That's why we have a space here. We have gathered here. We are educating each other. The church used to play a very critical role. Right now, the church is in bed with the regime. We do not have a country, and the buck stops with us. But the problem is from the head. We've had to cope up with this problem from 2013 to 2022. Now, we've seen this problem start in 2022, coming here up to 2024. We've said enough is enough. Someone said we need to look at reducing the counties, and maybe even, we talked about that. Do you know the budget that goes to the country is about 400 billion? Imagine that 400 billion used to be, and it was supposed to be, even right now, on the national government. Look at what is happening in the national government, even with the treasury itself. Treasury is rotten. Treasury is rotten. CS Ndungu seemed to understand his role after he had left the work. Is when I think he made a speech for the first time that made me look at this guy and say, okay, now is the CS or who is the CS? Because he was raising very critical points in terms of even ghost workers. He understood his role better when he was out of office than when he was in office. That means there's rot in our regime, in our government. And Okiom Tata yesterday mentioned a point that I wanted to talk about. The treasury should be an institution just like the central bank, led by technocrats, because it plays a very critical role. I'll tell you what, if you want to know that we don't have a serious regime, look at the budget difference from 2022 to now. If you look at 2022 budget, which was Uhuru's last budget, he had a budget of 27 billion for housing without deducting money from Kenyans. In 2023, Ruto made it 35 billion and started deducting the money from salaries. He's now put it at 96 billion. What is this fascination with this housing thing that Ruto has? Yet he needs 18 billion to employ JSS teachers. Employing JSS teachers is critical to our economy. Those teachers, once they start receiving salary, they will be moving around. They will be buying things. Economy booms. You collect more. I don't know what reasoning gets into the head of these people in terms of how to turn around an economy. This guy has no idea. I am convinced he has no idea of how to turn around an economy. And if he is someone who reads our constitution, he's never even read it, I don't think, because he assents to an appropriation act contrary to Article 220. Article 223 even talks about Article 220 talks about estimates. Article 223 talks about deficit and things like that. I don't know whether they read it or it is us who read it too much and we are not supposed to read it. So this document is 2 years old. It is upon us to ensure that it grows. It has not been growing. The last 10 years, we've subjected this baby to conditions that are not favorable for it, for the baby to grow and for the baby to come out to become an adult. Right now, the baby should be a young adult. We should be looking at improving this constitution, but we are looking at it as a failure and maybe looking at amending it. No, we are supposed to be looking at this constitution as a young adult. He is not a young adult. If you look at, we are just 4 years from Vision 2030. We are talking about matters education right now. If you look at Vision 2030, whatever was drafted there in terms of education, my guys, we are only 6 years out of 2030. We have not achieved nothing. Laptops program is rumors in the air right now. Stolen. These two regimes have proven to us that they are no leaders. They are not leaders at all. They ain't leaders. And they cannot lead us. We cannot. We have to. The first
Ikatoka,
solution for this
imagine.
country, the first solution for this
Nilikuwa
country is to
umepatia
get.
mic. Let me restart this for
Joe, go on. Go on. Western,
Okay.
you can drop and come back whenever you want. Real Joe, just go on. But please finalize in the next
Okay.
few
Thank you.
minutes.
Thank you.
2
So
minutes. 2 minutes.
just a minute actually. The first solution that we have in this country is to get rid of this current regime. We have to get rid of it. It is problems everywhere, from our education to health to to what, look at even how they do their budget. I mean, look at the budget that our regime is currently pushing for us. I mean, you guys go and look at that budget and look at even the difference from previous budgets and things like that. I'm telling you, it is chaos. We have to remove the top regime.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Yeah, we have to remove this regime and reset the country. And the last 3 months have taught us that we are able to do this. The last 3 months, we've done very critical civic education. The last 3 months, we've become self-aware. And I add those 3 months to the 2 years I had talked about. So the constitution is just roughly about under 3 years. And if we continue like this, we need to push for this regime to be out. Moving forward, we don't need to have discussions of 6-piece parties and all those kind of things. We need to have a discussion of electing leaders based on what someone said, Ayo said yesterday, meritocracy. Meritocracy. Actually, there's a point I missed. Please, just allow me, just less than a minute. When we come to vetting of CSS, we guys, we have been subjected to a vetting whereby once the president has nominated so and so, that is the person who will take up the position of CS. I mean, if you look at our constitution, because our constitution says, it talks about national the face of the nation in terms of CS appointments, but it even goes ahead and talks about merit and competition. We have never been subjected to merit and competition in terms of vetting of our CSS. We've never. The person who has been appointed, that's the person who will be, and it's not even vetting. Look at what Wetangula was doing, not vetting. Wetangula is answering for them questions. There's no vetting. There's no critical, we are not being subjected to competition. We have not seen vetting for more than one person in a CS position. We've not seen any competition. So the problem is at the top. The second problem is at the legislation, where we saw critically that the legislation of our country has failed. It has failed. So we need to get rid of this regime. We need to ensure that we put serious people in our legislature, in our legislature, from the county assembly to the national assembly, and ensure that we have leaders. Thank you very much for the mic, Manyama.
Thanks, Joe. So we are headed towards the completion of the discussion, but thanks, Joe. You highlighted a couple of things, and the highlight is the status quo. That's why, if you are here from the beginning, I decided to highlight why we are passing through whatever we are passing, and critically, I was speaking about Kanu, guys. Kanu. Never lose sight of Kanu and the damage it did to the Kenyan politics, as much as it had its own positives, the damage it did. And I still insist to you, every leader or politician that is there and occupying office was in Kanu. They were used to a certain status quo. Never forget that. They were used to a certain way of operating. Now, as Cyrus Jirongo always says, ni ngumu, ulizoea YK92, ulizoea, the youth wing, ulizoea kulikuwa na consolidated framework, dosi akisema, mkuu akisema, inafanyika in a certain way. But now 2010 came in. Most of the people we are speaking about, I'll complain even, they opposed the constitution. As Kibaki always said, how are you suddenly wise? How are you suddenly intelligent? Change happens, yes. But if I grew up nilifundishwa na the free education model, how are you going to convince me that education has to be paid for entirely? Because it's been done. I'm a product of it. And these are the effects of status quo. So whatever we are having right now is an issue of status quo. Do not embrace it. Look for what is the truth. What is the fact? The fact is the constitution. Na hapo ndio itakana to focus, not on the individuals in that space. As we continue with the conversation, I'm also very frustrated. And these have been sharing out. I was sharing actually with Ayo. See, hii kitu yenye tunalia hapa, sijui MCAs are not doing this, are not doing this. Kama kuna kitu watu wapendi ni reputation damage. all politicians do not want reputation damage. Manze, share those things. I don't know, me, I'm very frustrated as well, because when we get to hear about these things, the damage is done. We have to be purposeful with governance. As much as this is like a radio show or a morning drive show where we speak about anything and everything, we also have to be purposeful about governance. Unajua MCA wako, unajua ana mashida zetu za hapo kwa village yetu, nyumba 10 yetu, shida ni gani? Tukishajua hizo shida, have we consolidated and taken it to him, or is he part of that identification process of, yes, these are our problems, but what is a priority? Has he taken it to the right place in the right discussion? Because anaweza peleka parliament, shida za health, we need a health center, amepeleka kwa accounts committee in the house. Have we empowered him as well? As we are doing all those things, can we also have a way of highlighting all of them? Like residents were Bungoma County in Marakaru Ward have highlighted that these are their issues. Let it be, kuna transparency. And this is what we want to create with governance. Now, this is the function of the Telegram group, WhatsApp groups, WhatsApp channel, Telegram channel, the WhatsApp channel. But the information is not flowing well. So as you are also celebrating, please give suggestions on how we are going to do this. Do even form a WhatsApp group, because with all the counties, where now people will just be sending all the frustrations according to county. You join the group for your county, send all the frustrations, the bad projects, the what, uko, so that we highlight these things. But even if you do that, accept the challenges that come with it. How do you verify that? See propaganda msee anapost hapa because we don't know about the place. So how are we going to make sure there's accountability in the direct way in governance, even as we ask ourselves to be active in governance? I want to go to Hunter. So from now onwards, we are just doing 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to malize. Hunter, and then Ayo. Kocha kwanza ni find out kama Ayo ananisikia.
Thank you.
Kidogo tu Hunter. Ayo, are you able to hear me?
Naweza kusikia. Morning.
Okay. So, morning to you too. Hunter, go ahead.
Thank you, Wanyama. Thank you very much for the time. I'm with Joe, the really Joe. I want to reiterate that this country's problems are strictly embedded on how parties appoint leaders or people to offices in terms of different levels, the governor, the members of parliament, the MCs. I want to stand with Joe, and this is the reason why, in fact, I want to declare to you today, Wanyama, that we have proceeded to register a political party, which is Movement for African Unity, to be a platform for the really leaders of this country, including the young, who can be able to take up the mantle of the leadership and governance of this country. Now, the problem and the challenge that we've had in respect to Wanyamai's thought, which has been in me and why we have decided to register a political party, is that one, any party that is formed and proceeds to have a president, for example, UDA, which has a majority number of members of parliament, they tend to incline to the dictates and the authority of the president. Now, the finance bill was to go through because it is formulated by the executive and is assented by the president. And so always when a party has a majority members of parliament whose responsibilities are to oversight, legislate, and also represent, forgets to uphold the sanctity of the constitution of our republic. Now, the preamble of our constitution is very clear, my brothers and sisters. that in exercising our sovereign and inalienable right to determine the form of governance of our country, and having participated fully in the making of this constitution, we adopt, enact, and give this constitution to ourselves and to our future generations. These leaders, especially the current crop of the members of parliament and the president, have forgotten completely the fundamental value of the preamble of our constitution. They have forgotten to protect, preserve, and uphold the sanctity of the dictates which are enshrined in this constitution, and therefore they have only sunk into selfish endeavors, including ensuring that they run the funds of this country, including the CDF, and now they are into the bursaries that they can be able to implement, they can be able to oversee the proper utilization of this fund. And they forget there are three fundamental objectives and roles. When we come down to the MCS, the fact that Joy has highlighted a lot of issues, I concur with him in the pretext that the majority of the MCAs in the county assemblies of the 47 devolved governments are a problem because they have also forgotten their roles in the respective assemblies, and only a few of these MCAs will only come up maybe to impeach the governor because of their selfish interests. An example is Kawira Mwangaza. The members of the County Assembly of Meru are doing this not because that Kawira is probably very corrupt and has not all forgotten or has abused office or forgotten to uphold the constitution, is that Kawira Mwangaza had removed a kitty of 12 million shillings, which was going to the MCS. And so I conclude to say and concur with Joy and everybody that it is time for us to stand and go forward to start doing very proper civic education. I want to request my brothers that in the near future, possibly towards December, when we'll be launching the party and going across the country to do civic education on the rights and freedoms of our people, and also to stand for all those who have been abducted and go to court, is when we can only be able to move forward. Without which, when you see today Ruto Raila, to hasten the law review, when you see this, you ask yourself, what next? When you see Raila being launched and Raila launching Ruto, vice versa today, and today, which is a day we are supposed to actually commemorate and also stand against all oppressions against our people, especially those who have been abducted, those who have been arrested, those who have been arraigned in court without proper evidence and lack of witnesses. The day when we are supposed to celebrate in all the county governments, the devolved 47 devolved functions or devolved governments, the day we are supposed to look at the milestones of our constitution, the day we are supposed to celebrate all what we've had, the failures and pitfalls of our constitution, and be able to see how best to improve the institutions which uphold, accelerate, and also try to implement and stand for the constitution of Kenya, is a day when Ruto is launching Raila Amolo Odinga for the position of AU, which completely has no essence, importance to our country. And so the way forward, as I conclude my
Finalize,
time,
finalize, finalize.
as I finalize, I want to say that let's be focused and let's now have a platform where we will be able to present these views and issues and challenges across the country so that we can be able to monitor and be able to look for solutions to them. Thank you.
Asante sana. And as you go, I wanted to ask you. Now you formed a political party. I'm not going to. We insist that we don't give platform to that yet for people to campaign for their political parties yet. But I'm going to ask you a very straight question. What is different between your party, in actual sense, and the other parties that we have already been involved with? Recently, I've realized I'm a member of UDA. I've never registered to it, etc. But if you check with the ORPP, you'll find out your details. So, in one sentence, by the way, Hunter, what is different?
What is different is that most parties do not involve their voters in decision making and implementation of their manifesto. What is different with us is that we are going to involve all the voters and all the members of the party to make decisions which are geared to help our country. That is the difference.
Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, Western has been here for some time. Western, Shilaho.
Nyama, how are you?
Good morning. How are you? I was wondering why you've never failed to speak. So please go ahead.
Yeah.
Three
Thank you so
minutes.
much, Nyama. Thank you. And KOT, Ayo, and everybody else on the platform. Wanyama, I don't know where we got this notion that the law, and especially the written law, uh, is the panacea for our problems in Kenya. I don't know where we got it. Because even in traditional African societies, there were no written laws. But there are certain practices that were frowned upon. And if you engage in them, you would be stigmatized. You would be ostracized. Stealing, murder, and even manslaughter. You know, you accidentally take out someone's life. Still, there would be punishment for that. And all sorts of things. There was no chaos. So I don't know where we got this notion that if things are written down, then they can order our society or our lives. Evidence is that they cannot. Because look at this constitution. Some of its key pillars, like, you know, the doctrine of separation of powers. The executive should work separately from the legislature, the judiciary, and what have you. It's not working. It's not. The three have morphed into something. We don't know what it is. If you look at the Bill of Rights, which is also a very cardinal pillar of any constitution or any rule-based society, does not exist. It doesn't. That's why people are short of.
Western, I want to engage. Sorry about that. I want to engage you on that because me, I like engaging conversations. I want to engage on that. You saying that the separation of powers is dead. Is it really dead, or that is what the aura in which the current crop of politicians are creating? You know, we have to debunk these things because if you say it's dead, then who changed it? But is it just that the aura of the members of parliament and the judiciary and the executive is that's what they want to push? Weston, please unmute.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, because there's a distinction between the state of nature and what we have, what we would call a civilized society, where we repose our individual sovereignty into representatives. Those people we're calling our representatives in parliament and what have you. We put them there so that they serve us against one another. Because if each one of us exercises their sovereignty, then might will prevail. So when you see parliamentarians are not fulfilling their mandate, their function, okay, the president does not respect that doctrine of separation of powers, so he can impose his will on parliamentarians and parliamentarians will not push back. Or he can impose his will on certain judicial officers and they will not push back. Wanyama, that doctrine is dead. because it thrives on morals and values. It's not something you can enforce, because if a president doesn't respect the law, well, the same law says you cannot take him in court while he's in office. You can only wait after he's out of office. So what it means, he can mess you up as long as he's in that seat. You can sort him out once he's out. You understand the conundrum? So effectively, it means that doctrine is dead. Parliamentarians will not hold him to account. They'll go to State House and get instructions and go to Parliament and be told on how to vote. The Kenyan people's interests count for nothing. Can you imagine? So it's not imagined, it's a reality. Because remember, there is that which the Constitution stipulates and that which obtains in reality. The two are not one the same. So the Constitution may say, well, okay, you have freedom of protest. But if you go on the streets, the reality is different. You'll be maimed, you'll be killed. So we focus on the reality, not really on what obtains in the law. And that's why we're saying we may even not have the law, but still we
Weston,
live. Yes.
I still disagree with you on that.